Back at it again. It's the Football Playbook with your boy RIC and the place to be, Ric Serritella. Soaring high on this undefeated Monday. It is our 52nd episode here on the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. Buckle up. It's a double chin strap affair. 2 hours of power coming at ya for the next 2 hours here. Oh, baby. Get the likes up early for your boy. Hit the like button. All of our usual listeners, if you're a first-time listener, new to the show, welcome aboard. We're going to get into your undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, 8-0, hosting the Washington Commanders, 4-5. It all goes down tonight. By the way, Ocean Casino Resorts, your home for the Eagles pre- and post-game. Who's going to be down there in Atlantic City tonight? Unfortunately, I won't, but I have a date for all the listeners. We're going to have a Football Playbook watch party, November 27th. I'm writing it down now. It's the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Okay, November 27th, we're going to have a watch party at the Ocean Casino Resorts for all of you who want to come down, chop it up, kick back, have some soda pops, celebrate Thanksgiving with the familia. We're going to do it, man, Football Playbook style. November 27th, it'll be a nice beatdown of your Green Bay Packers who, bounced back yesterday against the Cowgirls. A lot to get into today around the National Football League, man. A lot to get into. Stephen J. Patton, we are ravishing Rick. Don't make me pull out the DDT. Alexander Freeman, what up? NZ Philly fan, welcome to the show, man. Shout out from NZ. Where is that, New Zealand? Oh, baby. Oh, you got me excited. Whew. We got global listeners here on the show. Oakham's Razor, New Jersey Fishing Maniac with the lobster roll. Man of God, always a pleasure. William Stark up in here. Man, the chat room is lit. LT, everybody's fired up for this Monday Night Football affair, which, coming into the year, the Eagles had 5-time primetime slates on the docket. I'm hearing that another 1 or 2 games could get flexed into primetime. Philadelphia, don't look now. They're the most televised team in primetime in 2022. Alexander Freeman, what up, maniac? So tonight is going to be one of those primetime affairs. Washington, believe it or not, holds the record all time at Philadelphia, this all-time series, 43, 42, and 3 in Philadelphia. So the Eagles looking to get back to 500 in the all-time series at home. Commanders have had pretty good track record of coming into Philly and winning. So we know what happened back in week 3. Eagles trounced 24-8. It felt like a home game. I think it's going to be a little bit closer this go-around. And we're going to get into key matchups. I'll have my keys to victory later on in the show. But what the Philadelphia Eagles are doing, I think this is the first time in franchise history that they're 8-0. They're looking to become the 23rd team in NFL history to go 9-0 in the modern day era, which would be the Super Bowl era. So not a lot of teams in the history of the National Football League that have done what the Eagles have done, but it all means naught if you don't run the table and win it all. And what I saw around the National Football League yesterday was a very beatable Bills team, a Kansas City team that's getting hot and probably looks like the odds-on favorite in the AFC, and a lot of teams coming up strong, breathing down the Eagles' neck in the NFC. I think Tampa Bay is getting right. I think San Francisco, we saw them last night, is getting healthy. And I told you, I called it on Friday, the Vikings were going to beat the Bills. I was looking at the standings here as the show was getting ready to launch. Showtime, what up? It's not going to be that far away until the Eagles clinch a playoff berth. And with the Eagles at 9-0, the Vikings at 8-1, and the next best team is the Seattle Seahawks at 6-4, you're starting to get some clarity in the NFC. In fact, who will be the 1 and 2 seed? It looks pretty evident and clear, as we found ourselves out of the muck and out of the fog here on November 14th, this beautiful Monday morning. Hey, it's the Eagles and the Vikings in the NFC, man. That's your first round buys. It's going down like that. Seahawks, man, I guess I was wrong about two things. I had just anointed the Seahawks contenders, and I had just put some dirt on the grave of Tom Brady. I think I turned out to be wrong on both of those fronts. And as a football fan, I'm happy I am, because I think Tom Brady and the Bucs are going to have something to say about this NFC race. I think that the Vikings aren't going away, and that the 49ers, they're getting healthy here in midseason. It's all about getting hot at the right time. I talk about it all too often. You don't want to bust that nut too early. So the Eagles look to keep it going here tonight against the Commanders, who, they're going to have their hands full. Remember, this was that Devontae Smith get off. What was it, week 3? Devonta Smith went off. What did he have? 169 yards in week 3. We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about the Giants. No. I'll get to my Giants later on in the show. So showtime 7-2. I ain't worried about the New York Football Giants. The New York Football Giants will be the first to tell you they ain't nothing to mess with. I'll get into that later on in the show. Let's talk some Eagles Commanders tonight. We talked so much about the 3 Batmans early on in the season. I'm starting to tend to believe it's really about the 3 amigos. And if you go back like I do to the mid 80s, back in the day, Vance Johnson, Mark Jackson, Ricky Nattiel, man, the 3 amigos, that was pretty cool. And the 3 amigos, they lost in the Super Bowl, as a matter of fact, to another 3 amigos, Art Monk, Gary Clark, and Henry Ellard. Well, the Eagles have a 3 amigos of their own. Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. They're the only 3 teammates in the NFL. Only 3 teammates in the NFL. The only triplets. The only 3 amigos with 40 catches and 400 receiving yards. That would be Dallas Goedert, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith. And I think those are the guys that hold the key to victory tonight. And don't worry, guys. We're going to get into around the league. I got lots of notes in the football playbook. Believe me when I tell you, we got notes for days. But tonight's a big one, because at 9-0, you're officially past the halfway part. And, talking about primetime, one of those flex games, if the Eagles are 16-0 heading into the last week of the season against the G-Men, that could be another game that gets flexed into the primetime. But we're talking week 10 NFL. By the way, your boy, 8-4 again yesterday, another stellar week. I didn't hit the Richard Rosanna trifecta. The Cowgirls messed that one up, but we did go 8-4 yesterday against the spread. Our best bet, the Dolphins hit. So we are 89-58 on the season. 31 games above 500. That's against the spread. Picking with the point lines. Of course, I'll have my prediction for you here in the final segment of the show. Yeah, I thought, the artist, man, Tim O'Lean, I get you guys out of the woodworks when I talk about the Cowgirls, man. Listen. I try to get on board with the Cowgirls. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying Aaron Rodgers either, but we'll get into the second hour of power. We'll go around the league a little bit. But tonight, it's all about trying to stop the 3 amigos for the Commanders. And they struggled last time holding down Devonta Smith. Now, William Jackson III was a trade deadline casualty. So William Jackson III is not any longer there. Fuller, who's their cornerback one, is going to have his hands full with A.J. Brown. Maybe it's Benjamin St-Juste, who did a really good, fantastic job against Justin Jefferson 2 weeks ago. So Fuller and St-Juste will be on A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Who's covering Dallas Goedert, though? You know, they got some pretty good safeties there in Washington, but Cole Holcomb has been ruled out. He leads the team in tackles. David Mayo, his backup, also out. So Jamin Davis there in the middle of the defense will have his hands full trying to hold it down. I think there's going to be some mismatches there to be had when it comes to Goddard. I think that, you know, the Commanders will pay should they bring help down on Goddard, because that means A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith will be outside one-on-one, able to get loose. Or do we see a big play from Quez Watkins this go around? So, you know, we talk about the three Batmans. I'm more into the three amigos with Quez Watkins outside of that Minnesota Vikings game where he had a big 54-yard catch. You know, Quez Watkins has kind of been unheard of, really. And so there's just only so many balls that can go around. And I believe that, you know, the Eagles at home are double-digit favorites for a reason. However, you know, in the National Football League, we saw yesterday, you're only as good as your last game. The fact that the Commanders played the Vikings from whistle to whistle and should have won that game 2 weeks ago, last week, Washington's playing good team. Now, they're on a little bit of an emotional roller coaster because leadership starts up top. Ron Rivera is a well-respected head coach. I think Ron Rivera commands the respect of the Commanders' locker room. And hey, a 4-5 record with this whole shitstorm surrounding the organization with Daniel Snyder, Carson Wentz proving to be a fraud and a debacle, Brian Robinson getting shot, the terrible PR from the front office. Through it all, even Rivera had his moments with calling out Carson Wentz, which could have been done behind closed doors. But you talk about a season full of adversity and a Washington football team that with a W, they would be back at 500 and very much in the hunt. Very much in the hunt at 5-5 if they can pull off the upset. So let's give some credit where credit is due. This is no gimme. This is no gimme. And I told you, they had Dameon Pierce looking like Earl Campbell a week ago. I'm going to get to my 5 keys to victory later on in the show and give you a little hint. Stopping Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson is going to be one of the critical keys to victory. Now, Chase Young, your 2020 Defensive Rookie of the Year, I had heard that he was going to be activated for this game. And I caught some of the Birds 365 show here right before us. Tone, maybe you can confirm this for me. Did Johnny Mack say Chase Young won't be playing? Because I heard he would be playing. So I don't know the official ruling there. He's not playing. Okay, so Tone confirms Chase Young will not be playing. So there was conflicting reports, and we had Matthew Paris on last week who didn't even know if Chase Young would be or wouldn't be playing. So okay, you know, I mean, listen, I don't want to say they dodged the bullet, but Chase Young, healthy or not, when he's in the game, has to be accounted for. So even as a decoy, if he was in there 15, 20 snaps tonight, he would have had to been allocated for. Without him, well, Montez Sweat now is the main edge rusher that you got to kind of account for. Smith Williams also in the mix. They got a F.A. Obata, one of the international guys with a bunch of sacks. Jamin Davis also with a handful of sacks. So Sweat now becomes kind of the guy on the edge that, Hurts will have to account for. Also, I think on the RPO, the play action, especially when Hurts rolls out, when Chase Young is in there, you don't necessarily want to roll out to his side if you're avoiding Montez Sweat. So now I think with Young not playing and Sweat in there, you could see a lot of play action with Hurts rolling out to the opposite side because Chase Young is not in there to be that threat. And, we talked about it. Jadeveon Clowney is the guy that comes to mind. Like Chase Young has all the potential in the world. He's got to get back into the field. You can't make the club in the tub. This guy, he only played 8 or 9 games last year. He's already missed, 9 games this year? Tough deal with Ron Rivera, who, oh, by the way, just buried his mom. As if the season wasn't enough for Coach Ron Rivera, who, dealt with cancer last year, deals with Daniel Snyder on a regular basis. You had the gunshot drive-by, Brian Robinson incident. Now the sale of the team, and oh, by the way, his mom dies? It's a lot, man. It's a lot to shoulder. And I'll tell you what, if the Commanders pull off the victory, man, whoo, Ron Rivera deserves a lot of credit. A lot of credit. I really think this guy is, you look at what the Cowboys and the Giants are doing. The Commanders, they don't get talked about enough. This is a team, they're hovering around 500 still in the playoff hunt, guys. Occam's Razor says we need a rebound game from Jordan Mailata. Well, he's playing with this shoulder brace. He has limited flexibility. I hate to tell you, Occam Razor, this is going to be an ongoing situation for the remainder of the year. I think tonight we'll find out how serious of an issue it is because he had his worst game of the season last week against the Texans. So I agree with you. I want to see a bounce back. He said, I let down the whole world. Coaches, teammates, fans. He said, I let down the whole world. So Jordan Mailata hears you. The artist says, I prefer Chase in there coming off the ACL. He's a non-factor, eating up snaps from younger, hungrier dudes. I tend to disagree. Chase Young is an elite talent, even if he's not healthy. As a decoy, he's got to be accounted for. Sorry. James Smith Williams? Give me that all day. The artist also saying the Eagles need to run early. Let the run set up the pass. I'm not adverse to that. Especially with temperatures expected to be in the 30-degree weather. A little Northeast football for you, baby. It's going to be, I think, 37 degrees come kickoff. It's only going to go down from there. And if you're heading out to the link, buckle up, wear some layers. Yes, Cole Holcomb has been ruled out. His backup, David Mayo, has also been ruled out. So Dallas Goedert could be his day today. Kevin Savard makes a good point. Andre Dillard, I'd like to see him get in there. He's been activated now for 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know if he's played a rep yet. If the Eagles get ahead or there's some garbage time in the fourth quarter, I don't know if I want to put Dillard in critical moments. But yeah, I want to work some of that rust off because, for as good as Driscoll's been, Lane Johnson with the concussions. I mean, Driscoll's a great swingman, but Dillard at left tackle, let's kick off some of that rust. I agree, Kevin. Good point. Dominique Dabney hanging out with Jordan Mailata on his off time says that he's not as hurt as you all think. Well, thank you for the scoop, Dominique. Maybe he was in the Christmas album recording hanging out with the eggnog. I guess he's got the inside scoop. We appreciate it. Showtime, he's got his hand warmers ready. Well, you got the hand warmers. I got something else. William Stark says, hey, be ready for the chicanery. Yeah, anything's possible. Onside kicks, fake punt, Commanders on the road. They're borderline desperado mode trying to save their season. Did Dillard got some reps? I missed that, Tim Oline. Thank you for chiming in. A couple games ago when they pulled the starters on a Thursday night game, Dillard got some reps, and they moved Mailata to left guard. Okay. Mayo isn't Holcomb's backup. He plays the will. But if Holcomb was out, it would have been Mayo starting alongside Jamin Davis, I guess is my point. Thank you, Ocam's Razor, for keeping me honest. New Jersey Fishing Maniac says Dominique is undercover for Big Sills. Be careful. Hey, whatever the case may be, it's all love here on the Football Playbook. Wife duty's calling. Okay, Kevin, I get it. Thank you for chiming in. Showtime, yes, tonight. It's all about buckle up. Nakobe Dean, Alexander Freeman, and the Nakobe Dean love is for serious in Philadelphia. Listen, you got TJ Edwards and Kaiser White, two guys that are playing at a Pro Bowl caliber type of level. What's the rush to play a rookie? Come on. Jonathan Gannon said a couple weeks ago, he was asked about this. Nakobe Dean is ready. And he's got no problems calling on Nakobe Dean if needed. He hasn't been needed. They'll get there eventually, guys. So there's a lot going down tonight. Woo. Avonte Maddox and Josh Jobe are out for the Eagles, which means you're going to see a lot of Josiah Scott. That concerns me. That concerns me for a reason. In case you didn't see, I did see, it looks to be confirmed as well. Jahan Dotson back off the IR. That's big. Remember back in week 3 when we were previewing the Commanders game, Jahan Dotson was lights out of the gate. He was in the hunt. He was in the running for Rookie of the Year. Had a couple big weeks for the Commanders early on. He's back. He missed a couple games. Jahan Dotson's back, and that could be a problem in the slot with Josiah Scott. That's a problem. That could be problematic because, whether it's Slay or Bradbury on McLaurin, you still have Curtis Samuel that has to be accounted for. And Jahan Dotson, I know Logan Thomas has been banged up, but when you have Dotson in the slot, along with Logan Thomas, who is going to play, you got to be careful there because I'm not worried so much about Bradbury and Slay on the outside, but I am a little bit concerned down those seam routes with Dotson working the slot on Josiah Scott. I think Dotson and Logan Thomas could be the X factors. I think they'll do a good job shutting down McLaurin and Curtis M. And then Diami Brown, you can't discredit that guy. He's had a couple big plays. Granted, they all came in one game, but he's got to be accounted for as well. Good morning, Paul Mancini. Thank you for joining us. John Dickerson, I agree. You got 170 people online? Hey, buckle up. Only 16 likes. What are we doing? Come on. Stop being lazy. Hit that like button. Buckle up. Curtis Samuel. Typically, the slot guy tone says Josiah Scott will be tested. Yeah. Whether Scott is on Samuel or Dotson, that's a mismatch. That's a mismatch that Taylor Heineke, I believe, will be looking to take great advantage of. And, listen, we mentioned it last week previewing the game. This Washington team has a different look. The whole backfield has a different dynamic. Yes, James Stella, rally the troops. God bless. Hit the like button. Yo, I'm trying to get my algorithm up here on the JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. You with me? You with me? Knock on wood. All right, listen, I told you, the Commanders, they've got a whole new backfield with Tyler Heineke. Pour that man a cold one. Brian Robinson, the new starting running back. Jahan Dotson activated off of the injured reserve. This is not an easy game. This is not an 11-point affair like the Vegas odds are telling you. When we come back from this commercial break, I've got my five keys to victory with RIC. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Listen, Eagles pre and post game, it's going down tonight at Ocean Casino Resorts in Atlantic City. Make sure you get down there. And if you don't, November 27th is going to be the Football Playbook watch party. Put it on the calendar, guys. It's the Sunday after Thanksgiving. We're going to go down to Ocean Casino Resorts, watch the Eagles Packers. I'm going to do a toy drive in December too. So hopefully you guys can bring some toys. I'll talk more about that and my 5 keys to victory right after this.